And we are live. Thank you for stopping by the Indie Dave channel. I, of course, am Indie Dave. We have with us today Sporkman.
What's up?
Alrighty, and Sporkman has got a new comic out. He's pushing on Indiegogo, and we're going to help him get to his goal, hopefully.
So, today was actually a good day. My friend, Dirty Texas Accountant, messaged me. He backed us at the 300 level. So,
wow.
Yeah, he's going to send me the money for the limited art print and stuff like that. So so we technically have more than what it says on the campaign because we have to do, we actually have to do it like kind of a roundabout way to get the donation. So
that's cool. And do you have to like do anything special to get it on the Indiegogo, or do you just leave it off?
Basically, I pulled it down the terms of the tier that he got. And then basically when I get the money in, I'll donate it in as like a donation.
So you're going to like, essentially, it's money from him, but you're going to donate it to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Unfortunately, they don't have a way like I could actually back it and put like his information in and ship it.
All right. There's a name for what you're doing. It's called money laundering.
Well, yeah, in the legal sense, it is.
Sort of. I mean, it's technically, but I mean, there's nothing illegal. But obviously, the money was meant going to where it was meant to go to, as long as everything's claimed and everything.
Yep.
I mean, all right. So tell us about this. All right, we're doing Sporkman Goes to Japan. Is there a previous Sporkman book?
So yeah, there is actually one other. There's a single issue we released called Sporkman Conventions. Currently, that is available for sale. You can actually purchase it through Wicked Publishing.
Okay.
And we also have it digitally on Comic Central for $1 for the black and white version and $2.99 for the color, because that also has a bonus ash can in it. For those, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, you want to get a feel for the character and stuff like that. We do have those available. And currently right now our conventions is we're running a sale. That's on sale for print version for $3.
All right, that's cool. Wicked's picking up a lot of these kind of little guys, huh?
Yeah.
The starter comics.
Well, and the thing is, we shopped around for a good publisher. I really would have liked to, hit Alterna, but their plate was full. I talked with Peter, briefly through some things, and he kind of gave me some pointers and stuff like that. Like he didn't do like an official review, and so, we did a good time. The other company I really wanted to go to was AP, Antarctic Press. The problem was I didn't feel like, although I love conventions, because it's a great standalone because it was meant as a one shot. I don't think it was good enough to present the title to the company.
Okay.
So, last campaign I was running, I am really good friends with Jack Irons.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so him and I were talking, and he gave me some suggestions about approaching maybe Wicked with it. Here I found out that they were actually fans of Sporkman, and so. We talked to both Matt and Mike over there, and we felt it was a good fit over there. So we really liked what we were doing with them. We got some good things coming down the road on the pike with them with Sporkman. One of the reasons why we were actually able to cut back on our funding goal is because they're going to be helping us with the printing costs and stuff like that.
Well, that's cool. I'm going to have to get a hold of them when we're ready to drop our project.
Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff. I don't know if you heard. They picked up Jeremy Lott with his project called Movie Men.
No, I haven't heard of that project.
It is doing an Indiegogo at the same time. They have Canalis that he has a comic with them called
Decimators.
Yeah, Decimators. And then they have another series getting ready to release here in a few days called the Mythoverse. That's the Changeling, Adobe Kroger, and one other one. Althea is the main character name, done by Matt Trin. And they're getting ready to launch their Kickstarter. So we got a lot of good stuff. And then I know there's another gentleman, Scott K. He's got his book coming out here soon in May. So we got a Wicked. Wicked's really on a good path, here. And then I know Jack Irons, the second issue is about to drop soon. He's finishing on some stuff with that. So yeah, they're a great company.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and put I've got the Indiegogo up now. So let me do that. Screen share. There we go. Let's go over your Indiegogo.
Sure.
All right. So let's see. Sporkman Goes to Japan. Worlds Collide is East meets West, in a comic that is an homage to both American and Japanese culture. All right. Right now we're at 19%. You need 5,500. You're at 1,053. So let's get that number up. Let's see. 91-page comic. Wow.
Yep. So basically what we did was we originally released Japan back in 2009 in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did was in 2015, we colorized our convention comic. And we always wanted to do Japan in color because we want to have everything standardized. So, I got involved with Comicsgate and, the indie comic scene, through a lot of the people meeting you guys. So we thought, hey, why don't we bring Sporkman back out to a new generation of people? Because it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So we're like, why don't we just take and remaster Sporkman? Because there were some things we didn't care for. For instance, the lettering was really off, and also talking with some people, they felt that they agreed the lettering looked very very indie. So we kind of felt it was better to let's go back to the drawing board. All the artwork was done, which is great. Our old partner Chris, he basically had given us the inks and the final files, no lettering or anything like that. He'd given us all blank stuff with just the art. Mm-hmm. And so I basically was able to take that and I created the layering effect for so our colors can do theirs, and we also had the AI files which is called Illustrator. Those are the Illustrator. Yeah. So, and that actually has all the lettering on it for all 3 issues. So I was actually able to get that to our letterist, which, by the way, I'm not sure if you're aware who Joshua Finney is. Jay Shiro.
Yeah. I've seen they do. I know they have a YouTube channel, right?
Correct, and they also have a series called Case File Arkham.
Okay.
So Josh has agreed to, if we get fully funded, he is going to join our campaign.
Oh, cool.
And he's going to redo the lettering for us. Our colorist is going to be Ginger Foxy. That is her screen name she goes by. She does a lot of art.
Hot.
What's that?
Sounds hot, Ginger Foxy.
But she's a great girl. She is a wonderful person. She's actually done some art stuff for us, some fan art, and she actually did some commissioned stuff for us. And if you take a look, that page right there, that was colored by her.
Oh, that's cool.
So she took I gave her a couple pages to work with, and because we were looking at different colors, we were originally going to have Your Friendly Neighborhood Ninja on board. He was a great guy, but he was just getting swamped with a lot of stuff. So, we decided to lighten his load a little bit, and we went to another colorist, and luckily Ginger was looking for some work. She has another project she's going to be doing. The Changeling, she's also going to be a colorist on that project. So, we're like, okay, well, let's see what you can do. And she took our stuff and she ratcheted it up to 11.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. So I am really pleased. And then I commissioned her for a art piece of Natsumi, because that's our main heroine. And I really want to, down the road, we are planning on creating a spin-off series with Natsumi. So, yeah. So, what's that?
That's her right there. I don't know if you can see the screen.
Yeah, I can see that. That is that's Natsumi right there. Now that was done by a different artist. Ginger Foxy's art is actually down in the campaign.
Okay. Well, we'll scroll down there when we start going over the tiers.
So yeah, our heroine is actually, her name is Natsumi Wubi. She is part Japanese, part Chinese. And she is actually would be technically in the vein of the magical girl aspect. Now she doesn't have any powers, but she does transform. She has actually battle staff, that the dual, almost like that is dual wielded sword, or not dual wielded sword, but I forget the actual technical name for that weapon. There's actually 8 mystical weapons in our world that are inherited. One Natsumi has, and Sporkman will actually get the katana.
Okay. I'm going to read this real quick. Massive 91-page comic for kids of all ages. Who is Sporkman? A man of many utilities. A mystery to all who know him. A hero who wields the power of the spork. After stopping the bomb threat at the Galacticon Sci-Fi Convention, our man of mystery is invited to join the superhero league known as the Duh.
which is a acronym for the Department of Unusual Humans.
That's awesome. Which includes an all-expenses-paid internship in Japan. We are remastering the comic by having our original black and white pages fully. You've already explained all of this. Let's go over all the tiers here. For $2, you get a decal. Is there a picture of the decal somewhere?
Yeah, if you scroll down, I do believe. Let me take a look here. Give me a second here. Yeah, on the $25 tier.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, the little spork sticker.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's going to be a spork sticker. Basically, the backers will get that. At the $2, that's just if they want to donate, something simple. My best friend has a he does decals and stuff like that for he actually has his own business, so he does a lot of decals and prop making and stuff like that. So he can actually make them fairly cheap and doesn't cost us much.
Oh, cool. All right, and you get some value instead of just hey, I donated $2. And...
Right. Right.
All right, and let's see. $15 gets you 3 floppies.
Yep. Now those are going to be colored too. There isn't going to be you're not getting the black and white. You're getting the full color on those too.
Okay, and just 3 different covers apparently.
Yes, those are the original covers.
Okay. Let's see. That's $15. For $25, you're getting the decal. You're getting the trade paperback and the poster.
Yes.
All right. And let's see, for $37, what's just an odd number?
Oh, because the $37 is the trade and the floppies together.
Okay. Let's see, 37 trade and floppies. Wow. Okay. So and the poster and the decal.
Yeah.
I think this is probably the one to get. If you're going to get one, that's the whole package right there.
Pretty much so, except for the T-shirts. So,
yeah. If you're just looking for the reading material.
Yeah,
then that's the way to go. There's all your art and your stories right there. But as you're saying, at the 45, you're getting all of that, right?
Yeah, you're getting. Yeah, you're getting. Well, you're not going to get the floppies.
You're going to get the paperback and the T-shirt.
Yeah, you're going to get the paperback and the T-shirt. So you're going to get the trade paperback, the poster, T-shirt, decal, and then we don't have an everything tier. Until you get to the higher price, because that actually involves the Sporkman figure.
All right. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And
plus the Sporkman figure.
Yeah. So you actually will get floppies, the trade. Now, Nerdy Texan Accountant actually just joined us. He actually just backed us at the high tier, the highest tier, and I actually have that off the campaign for right now because since he backed that. At the $300 level, he's actually getting the limited art print of that poster.
All right.
So he's going to get the poster. He's going to get the original art piece for that poster. He's going to get the floppies. He's going to get the trade. He's going to get a T-shirt, decal. The only thing he doesn't get is the figure because that was a separate tier. But he gets everything else.
Wow.
So he's getting a limited figure. Now, another tier I'm going to be adding in here, but I'm waiting for the art to be finished. We are going to be doing a separate tier for the cover, for the original art piece for the cover, done by Brad Ashworth.
Oh, nice. He's Brad Ashworth for anybody. Well, there's only one other guy in here. And hello, Nerdy Texas Accountant. Brad Ashworth is the guy that's doing Handyman.
Yes, Brad is the gentleman doing Handyman. And I got introduced by Brad by Slick Jimmy from Little Girl Lethal. I'm not sure. Yeah. They know each other. So he basically came on board and he's like, he was giving us some suggestions and he was giving us some some art to show what he could do for the cover, and I really liked it. And I talked to my partner, and he really liked what Brad was going to do. So there was a few changes we changed from the original offer that Brad showed us. But it's what he's done now has gone above and beyond. I mean, it's amazing. Now that art piece that you're on right there with Ginger Foxy.
This the kind of painted looking one.
Yes, that is. Let me give me a second here. Let me show my. Yes, so that one right there that you're on right there, that is actually done by Ginger Foxy. That is going to be for the first 100 backers of our campaign are also going to get a digital print, or not a digital print, but an actual physical print of that for a poster. That's going to be an 11 by 17.
This is really nice work. That is a beautiful picture.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. I mean, she is fantastic. She is the colors are amazing. I really want to do more work with her in the future because what she has done with Natsumi there, I would like to see if she could do like sequentials and maybe even bring her on board to do. Like I said, we plan on doing a Natsumi comic down the road. I would love to be able to do something with her, maybe on that.
Absolutely. And who's this one? Who did this one down here?
That is done by Danku. I wanted. He is a Twitter. He deals more with the anime style.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted a anime themed Natsumi. One where she would look like if she was actually like actual anime style.
Yeah.
And he really did a great job on the black and white on that. Now the color was actually done by me.
Okay.
But the black and white was done by him, and he really. I commissioned a couple different pieces from him. I did that one. I have Natsumi in her business outfit, which I haven't put up. I actually have Natsumi in chibi form. He did me a chibi form of Natsumi and a chibi form of Sporkman.
All right, and let's see. Next on the paperback cover, drawn by Brad Ashworth.
Yep.
Again, he's doing Handyman.
That's
on Indiegogo right now as well. You should definitely check that one out. And this is really nice work too. Got there we go.
Definitely, 100%. I'm really pleased with what he's doing. Now, and then the poster, like I said, the art was done by Killbox. We actually brought Ninja on. He did do this for us as a coloring.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think he did an excellent job there.
Yeah, it looks great. Let's see. We got any more? Here we go.
Yep.
It's just more of the books. There's 3 different covers.
Yep. So everybody who backs at the $15 will get those. Just to show everybody what the 3 covers look like, because looking at the small print is very hard.
Yeah.
So, and those are actually done by our original artist Giftney. He did all 3 covers.
All right. Think that's all the interior guy.
Yes, that is all the interior guy. Correct.
All right.
And we really wanted to have a kind of like a lot of times I know some people don't particularly care that the cover looks completely different from the inside. So we really wanted to keep that theme with the single issues, that we wanted to keep the artist the same as the cover and stuff like that. And then on the trade, because a lot of people like trades, so we wanted to bring somebody different in on there, for that. So and give people 2 different options.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. This is some of the colors in progress. I think some of this was in this page. I think was in up top. Yep.
Now the one, the one page, yes, the one with you see Natsumi and the Natsumi transformation page was one we just recently got back, and if you take a look at the colors on that, I mean, Ginger did a fantastic job. And this is what I'm saying. When you're seeing it in black and white, and I read manga a lot. I don't know if you guys do or not.
I have a little bit, yeah.
I like black and white, but it doesn't. To me, I like art no matter what. But there's just something when you find the right colorist, sometimes can ratchet that look like way up. And
sometimes. I mean, even if I'm not saying anything about the line work, but even if it's the line, like look at Ethan's stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing about Ethan's stuff is it's very detailed. Sometimes it gets really busy.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all the detail, and then you see what what's his name does with the colors, and everything just pops. And just, I mean, even though Ethan's a great artist, everything just pops so much more when you have really good colors.
I'm more the person on the side of, there's a lot of times I think the color, there's two things I believe can make a break or a comic. Coloring. Coloring is a big thing. If you can get away with black and white, that, you know, as long as you have good heavy lines and stuff like that, you can get away with it. But you know, if you don't have a good colorist, sometimes that can really hurt your project, in my opinion. And then the other thing I think is, lettering. A lot of people don't realize lettering and how important it's. These are all different parts, and that's why there is. Opto Spider put a really good point. He said there's no I in team. Really, our project would not be where it is without, Giffney's art. B, what I think Jay Shearer is going to bring to the lettering, because I have Case File Arkham, back both of them, and I love his work.
I can tell you what, lettering is one of those things, and I've said this before. If it's good, you don't notice it. If it's bad, then it really it brings a project down.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And I apologize, Cheryl. I was just opening up a can of soda.
That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and just shake that next to my microphone while I'm drinking. All right. Let's see. Let's look at some more sample pages, because we like looking at the art.
The one nice thing is, what we are going to plan to do is, I know there's a lot of people who like the manga style. So what we're going to do, we are actually going to offer for the manga shops, because I'm on the East Coast now. Wicked's on the West Coast of the publishing. They have a lot of anime stores and a lot of manga shops and stuff like that. So we were actually talking about maybe offering this in a manga, keep it black and white for just a manga for those shops only.
You know, print it backwards.
Yeah, if we could do it, possibly print it backwards and put it on the shelf.
That'd be cool.
So, but let's see there. We're going to see what if there's actually a market for it, and stuff like that. But I think there will be, but because I think manga, there's a really good style for me at least. I feel that the Sporkman really covers, especially Japan, covers how I love manga, because it really was born out of my love for anime and manga.
I've really just started getting into anime and manga, and I got I got one of those big fancy Battle Angel Volume 1.
Oh yes,
and all that.
Yes,
and I find it hard. I mean, I'm old. I'm like in my 40s, so I find it hard. I open up the book, and I know it's backwards, so I start reading it, and then it's like, all right, and my eye just wants to go where it's not supposed to go while I'm reading it, and I'll flip the page, and I always forget where I'm supposed to be. You know
what? I've been reading manga for over 20-some years. I still do it because I instinctively, because I don't know if you know the theory. There's this theory out there that talks about how writing evolved. Because if you go for instance, if you take the Middle East, everything they do is they do right to left. From the Middle East.
Yeah.
To Asia and stuff like that. Their writings are from right to left. Everything west of the Middle East, or like Africa and Europe and stuff like that, we read right to left or left to right. So instinctively, it's like your brain, the way it works is it wants to naturally go back and retrain itself to think and read how it normally wants to read.
Yeah, and I don't know how that happened, because most people are right-handed, and I would have thought, I mean, just off the top of my head, because the reason there weren't, I remember this, Marvel used to do a thing in the back where they would ask a question, like a trivia question, and it was like, why are there very few or no left-handed letterers? And it's because they used to do all the lettering by hand back then. If you were left-handed writing right to left, you smeared the ink. You know what I'm saying? Because your hand would kind of drag along it. And so my whole theory on why, we read that stuff left to right was because when people write, naturally they write that way because they write in the natural direction that their hand goes.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's weird to me. I mean, I can do it because I do have. Let's see, I have that Battle Angel. I bought the first one of the reprints of Full Metal Alchemist and some others. And we have my son. I mean, he jumps right into it. Like, he doesn't read many comics, but he likes manga. So he does it, really easy for him.
Yeah, and for me, and that's the thing is, I really wanted to. I think we hit, and the thing is, the origin of Sporkman really, what a lot of people don't realize or may not know. Originally, when we were created the character back in '97, he looked a lot different than he does now. How he got the actual design now is my friend, who, like I was telling you, he does a lot of props and stuff like that. Well, he also does custom figure making. And he wanted to create a Sporkman figure. Well, he naturally he used a red Power Ranger as the base because they're for the style and posing, they're actually very good figures to use.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's actually kind of how Sporkman got his look, the red theme, because we used the red Power Ranger as its base and stuff like that. But I think instinctively, I think my friend, I don't know if he knew it or not, it just really hit into, he just was really hitting, that lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
But yeah, so that's really instinctively how we kind of, so the rest of the comic came out of, we kind of have this theme with Sporkman. What would a comic be like if we took Sporkman and took him out of this situation and we put him in certain things? For instance, like in the first issue, we put him in a convention because that's what we know best. So it was something that wrote. And so I said to Eric one day, we were sitting here, and I had actually got him into Gundam Seed. I'm a huge Gundam fan because I love giant robots. I mean, I'm a huge. It shows in the comic. I love kaiju. I'm a really huge fan of Japanese mediums, be it books, anime, movies, whatever. I just love their culture. And so I said, hey, what if we just took Sporkman and in our world, everything was like it was in the movies, manga, anime. And I'm like, all real. Yeah, it was all real for him. Like, so I actually had the very first scene we conceived of was in the issue 2 where Sporkman actually opens up. He goes down into this bay, and there's this giant robot in the shape of a spork. Because with most I don't know if you ever watched any Gundams or seen any things. One of the big things they like to do in Gundam is the robot reveal. Yeah. And that's just an almost all. I mean, it was done in if you watch what was the movie?
The new one that just came out?
No, not Pacific Rim.
Okay, yeah.
So how Pacific Rim, they had all the lights and the reels and all that stuff. Well, that's really a thematic in a lot of the robot anime. So we really wanted that because that was like our first thing. We're like, yeah, that would be awesome. And we really started building the story around that aspect and the whole theme of him being in Japan, and everything was like that. I'm like, well, we have to have this. So you had to have certain things that had to be a sticking point. In Japan, in our version of Japan, giant robots and kaiju monsters were normal.
Mm-hmm.
Technology was advanced because for even now, I mean, you look at Japan. I mean, they're talking about building live robots. They have a huge giant Gundam that's animatronic and it can move around and stuff like that. And I think
there's a company here in the States that built something similar, and they issued a challenge. I don't know if it already happened or not. They built a big giant robot, and they were going to fight them as just a friendly competition.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. So they and they actually are talking. They're actually working on a way to actually. One of the big things is why robots can't walk right now is because bipedal creatures. You have to have some sort of centrifugal way of balancing how they walk.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that's one of the big things is you have to make sure you have enough energy. Well, in the most robot anime, a lot of times they have like some sort of energy, or like kind of like cold fusion or some sort of like energy, and that became the basis of, well, hey, what if we had this thing? And we actually kind of did the homage to Transformers. You see that one robot they're transforming, and they're trying to steal the Energon sphere. That was our homage to Transformers.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Have you seen the Boston Dynamics stuff?
Yes, I have seen some of this stuff. Some of that stuff is very creepy.
It is crazy. They have them doing like almost parkour now.
I saw one of them. The one video I was watching, like they were actually shipping and packing stuff. I couldn't believe that. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is just amazing!"
They had the 2 4-legged robots that were like helping each other open a door. Like one actually came in and assisted the other one because it couldn't figure it out.
It's amazing. I've said that, like I know a lot of people are on the theory of that AI is going to be this evil thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on the theory, I think, AI itself is not evil. It's the people behind the AI that can make it evil.
Well, they can make it evil, or they can just, so you misplace a decimal point or something.
Right.
And suddenly the thing wants to kill everybody instead of help everybody. They were talking about nanites that eat oil and nothing else. And it was like, if just the slightest little accidental zero is placed wrong, then it could eat everything else except oil.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I'm 43, so we're close to the same age. It's amazing. Who would have thought back in the 80s when they were talking about computers for the first time that we'd be less than 20, 25 years, we'd be so advanced. Like we'd be carrying more processing power in our pockets than the space shuttle.
Oh, yeah. We went to the Air and Space Museum in Florida with the family, and they had these humongous big processors, and it was like 8 gig or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the size of a room. And that's what they ran the space shuttle on.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, no, it wasn't the space shuttle. It was the trip to the moon. It was the moon lander stuff. It was all run on like 8 gigs.
Yeah, and it was all punch. The original Apollo mission, the one Apollo mission, I think for the first 10 were all punch cards. Yeah. So it's amazing how far in advance we have gotten. I'm a techie guy. I do computers for a living and stuff like that. I'm an IT guy. So for me, this stuff is amazing. But at the same point, I do kind of wonder, okay, well, even though AI itself is not bad, it all comes down to, because TV's not evil, computers aren't evil. It's the person behind everything. Like you said, you take that one person and stuff like that. The Metal brings up a really good point. He said we also need to distinguish between artificial intelligence and synthetic intelligence, because they're two totally different things.
Okay. By the way, hey, thanks for showing up again, the Metal. He's in every single, just about, of my chats. I think he subscribes and likes every one.
Awesome.
So let's get in. Let's get a little bit about how does Sporkman get his powers? What is his deal?
So Sporkman himself, it doesn't have any powers except for the power of the spork, and that's kind of a pun. Really, he's more of a the original origin of the story. We haven't flushed everything out. So basically, we have a few things that get revealed in the comic. That's not like giveaway stuff like that. Spoilers. So his daytime job, he's a sous chef. He actually, we originally were going to write a movie. What we did was we actually we're going to have it where he gains the mantle of the spork by these gang members basically bust into the restaurant him and his mentor own, and he's being trained and stuff like that underneath there. And they basically are attacking the guy who's training him, and they almost kill him. Well, the only thing that was able to save him, Sporkman was able to pick up the character, and we don't have a name for him.
Oh, so he doesn't have a secret identity?
No. Nope. He doesn't have... Basically, if he could be Sporkman, he would be Sporkman 24/7. But maybe down the road we might explore it. We just think he's more interesting as Sporkman. But so anyhow, so he saves his boss's life with the spork because that was the only utensil around, and he basically thought, oh hey, what if I use this as a way to fight evil? And he actually beat the guys, and he was able to save his mentor and stuff like that. Well, down the road sometime we actually have it where our main Superman type hero is called Captain Tornado. The biggest difference between him is, Superman is hope. He gives a lot of hope in the world, and he protects people and stuff like that. Well, Captain Tornado is like the strongest superhero we have, and superheroes in our world don't have a lot of powers. There's very few like super powered humans. Most of them, all our heroes are more gadget based.
Okay.
The reason being is because one of the problems is when you have superheroes that are all superhero based, what happens? It gets a little too fantastical. Yeah. We want to kind of to keep some stuff grounded, but we wanted to have like human beings actually using their intelligence. For instance, Captain Tornado has his powers. We have Ultra Girl who has her own powers. We have I have a speedster I created. Her name is Celerity. And because she's a speedster, she has to have the speed. You can't have a speedster without having some sort of power. Now, what I made her unique was for her purpose. What happened was she actually got her powers from dark energy. And I used the CERN, when they were doing the CERN experiments and stuff like that. They in real life they thought, well, hey, nothing really happened. We ran the CERN. I'm actually having it in our world where it kind of opened up and there was this accident, but it was a continent away, and it happens in the United States.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so we do have, like I said, we do have super powered. Like for instance, Natsumi has a battle staff, so that will actually kind of give her enhanced human powers. Now Sporkman, he doesn't have any powers. His is all training and stuff like that. Which like I said, we'll go into. Hopefully, down the road we'll reveal more information how he gets his training. We do actually have what's called the mantle of the Spork. Well, there's been different Sporkmans through the world. Yeah. So we actually have a plan of doing an anthology of what if. And we're going to explore the different people throughout the ages. For instance, a Nerd in the 30, him and I are working on a Detective Spork. We're going to be doing a radio drama, and that's going to go out to backers once we're done with that.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, we thought, and eventually we like to actually do a radio drama with the current Sporkman. Because I think he could work really well, and we're now in this age with YouTube and stuff like that. So, I think we have a lot of things we could do with it. Yeah,
that sounds actually really cool. All right, I'm going over the pages here. This is really cool stuff here. So you were talking about fantastical, but then you got giant crab monsters.
Well, yeah. So for instance, Japan. Japan is that. That's what Japan is.
Yeah. Well, I remember you were saying all tropes are real. Basically, is what.
Yeah. Yeah. So whereas in for instance, the United States, it may not be that way. There might be something a little bit different. For instance, we're part of the Revengers. I don't know if you've heard of that series. It's there's a group of indie creators we created a series called the Revengers. Wanpool, Rags.
Oh wow! I didn't realize you guys all linked. Because I knew there was that kind of connection between Rags and Wanpool.
Mm-hmm. We are actually going to. I've already talked with Brian. Brian's a great friend, and we are going to. We are actually going to. We have an issue. One of the next issue basically we're going to write is called Sporkman on the High Seas. We are actually going to link ourselves to Jack Irons in that one.
All right. So for all of you who don't know, Brian Ball is the one of the creators of Rags.
Correct.
For anybody that's not watching this later.
And so then what we're going to do is how our world is going to link to all the stories. Now it's going to be in our world, every movie from every comic book for Jack Irons, Rags, and Wanpool are going to be movies in our world.
Oh.
And and we are going to say where with Rags, it's based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we get linked, into the universe and shit and stuff like that. So it's kind of, we have a loose shared universe, but at the same point, we have like this kind of theme, because eventually what's going to happen is down the road, we don't know how long it's going to be, but we kind of been coming up with these ideas of bringing all our characters together. Sporkman, Wanpool, then Sean Campbell from his main character from the Ferryman. Little Girl Lethal, Sugar. We're also going to have the Changeling made from the Changeling. And Josh has got some characters. He's working on Josh from Dr. Science Wizard comic.
Okay, yeah.
He's got some characters. Pineapple Pizza Man, and his one character, J-Pop, is going to be in our group. So we got a lot of good things we're creating and working on, and each one of us are raising the bar on what we do, for everybody. And really, what Brian Ball is doing is really inspired us, and then Cody. So we really felt like, bringing this back. I mean, we wouldn't be bringing this back if it wasn't for the support of those guys. So, and then that really, got me into promoting our stuff, and, people like Nerdy Tex Account and you and others really liking our project. So we're like, okay, well, we definitely got something here. We may not hit even EVS level, but if you have, I look at it as if you have 200-300 people that are willing to back you, that's the way I look at it.
That's 200 or 300 people, really. That can show it to a friend and say, hey, look, check this out.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you build from there. You get your word of mouth is just as well. It's not just as good as getting everybody to look at you at once, but I mean, it works for a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And I mean, getting good word of mouth is, it's invaluable.
And I think being a good, if you're and I think if you hold to what Comicsgate was about being treating the customer right, creating the best thing that you can be, and I don't care what your comic is, you could have some of the worst story in the world and it's not coming out right, but if you're trying with heart and passion, I'm going to back you.
Yeah, and you guys are. You're bringing fun in.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Is all these things, the Jack Irons and the Sporkmans and the Rags and and Wanpool. It's fun, and you're having fun with it, and and getting together and having fun, putting projects together. That, I mean, it's great. It's a lot of things, and your cross promotion is great too. That's what you're doing. Somebody's going to be like, hey, where'd this Rag character come from? And then they're going to go look for the Rags books. Or they'd be, oh, who's this Wanpool guy? And they're going to go look at that book.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing is, and our world is actually going to be a little bit larger too. I just talked to Timothy Lamb, and he okayed us adding Wall Might as our president in Sporkman's world.
That's cool.
So, so we gotta find a way to work that in. I was thinking more like, and you could do it by just doing the Easter eggs, by like, one of the scenes I wanted to do was kind of have like how we're gonna do it on those high seas. Basically, we're gonna have, there's a scene that where Sporkman goes into the bar, and on the bar there's the TV in the background, and it's playing the movie of Jack Irons. So you could just have like little Easter eggs and stuff like that. And that's kind of what like Nerd Wonder did a really good shout out to us in her. I don't know if you've seen the chibi version of Graveyard Shift that she did.
No, I haven't. I mean, I know that she did it. I haven't seen any of it. I didn't get that work.
In the back of the last page, she actually drew, in the very back, she drew a mini Sporkman.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so she just did a little Easter egg. She loves the character. So it's like little things like that. So, Yeah, so it's fun, and that's the thing is, and I think that's one of the big things I really like that we're doing here, and I think from everywhere, from what we're doing, to what reading some of these great comics that are coming out, like Lone Wolf, Graveyard Shift was excellent. I really enjoyed Graveyard Shift. Jawbreakers, I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, so because I got a lot of other stuff going on, but I really love the artwork. I read Trump Space Force. Read My Hero Academia, and what we're doing, and this is just on every level. I just backed the zombie one that was on Chester's channel. I think his name is Eric, and he's doing like an Oz/zombie type thing.
Oh yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, and it looks really good. I'm like, oh man, I love that. Of course, we got the update for T-Bird of Throttle. I can't
wait for that one.
Yep, Punchline. They just announced they're going to, the Dare print and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on. And I come back to say that to me, it's not just a renaissance. I think we're kind of building this. We're trying to vitalize the comic industry into getting back. And I think we're starting to see, creators like I know Sean Gordon Murphy did a really excellent post today. And I've been really like him and Jimmy Palomati, Doug TeNapel, what these guys are doing for trying to get comics, into people's hands, having this positive attitude is excellent. It's great stuff. And they treat their customer good.
Yeah. You know what? I want, if you could, at some point, I'd love to get the Wicked guys on here. Just some of the guys. I'd love to talk to them about some of the books they're doing. And I love what you're doing here, especially with the kind of mini Revengers universe kind of thing, because it's indie artists, indie writers, indie creators helping each other out and having fun doing it, and it's something you're not seeing on the kind of mainstream side.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I mean, obviously, I'm sure for business sense, you don't want Superman constantly in the Spider-Man comics, that kind of stuff. But I mean, obviously, that can't happen. Every once in a while, they'll do like the little crossover. But it's nice that you got all these indie creators that you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm working on a book with a really cool artist, Paul Dozier. Follow him at ZZombie13, by the way. Give you a chance. All the other listeners. I always like to promote his stuff. We're working on a project together that's going to be kind of a one-shot, kind of really comic-skatey book.
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, we've got another one. It's a superhero kind of story, and I would love to get in on this universe with that character. So once we're ready to drop that one, we're going to talk again.
All right, cool. And that's the thing is, there's actually different ways. Like for instance, to give you an example, your friendly neighborhood ninja. I don't know if you ever talked to him or not. He does a lot of drawing and stuff like that. His character, we've actually made canon into our universe, into the Sporkman universe.
And you know what? For especially, I mean, if you guys obviously, I mean, not for everybody, but if you get in, if you're getting into on your little group or whatever, if you've got a character that you're not ready, if just a little tiny cameo here and there, just enough to build up interest for someone else. I mean, it really helps someone else out, and at the same time, at some point you can, you're gonna do quid pro quo.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, I really love the fact that you guys are all getting together and one, having fun, and two, just helping each other out with this kind of stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, and for me, it's I actually replied to Sean and I said, it's like I'm like, all I want to do is create comic books. I don't want drama. I don't want. All I want to do is create comic books because I have so many ideas out there. My best friend's the same idea. We got like other projects we're working on. I was just telling my boss today, he's a really big comic fan, and I was telling my boss about this other comic I have called Volt Chaos Myth Gods. And basically, it's my hero Volt. He's part of the angelic order, but he's not an angel. I'm a Christian, so I'm really big into theology. I actually have a degree in theology, biblical studies. So I really kind of wanted to bring that part of myself into comics. And I think, you can still do really good Christian comics. You don't have to be preachy or anything like that, but you can do it in a good way that can get people to think. So I'm like, well, there's so many things in the Bible that can lend itself to the superhero aspect. For instance, you had like Melchizedek or Goliath. You know what I mean? So you have like these big name people that in my view, they existed, but let's say history, they may have existed. So you have Goliath. Well, he could be a villain against Volchaos. But what I wanted to do with this comic basically is it is an angelic being that basically is given the mandate to take all demons and stuff like that and throw them into the abyss. So his job is he's going to have to go against, and these demons basically are taking human form and they're impersonating different characters throughout history in the mythos, like Gilgamesh, Osiris, Thor, and like from the different mythologies and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. That sounds really cool. And you know what? I guess it seems like it's hard to do, but guys like C.S. Lewis used to do that. I mean, a lot. I remember reading. It was a Stephen King book, and his character was angry when he found out that C.S. Lewis was quote unquote kind of secretly preaching to him. But that was what was really good about the books like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and that kind of stuff was you didn't notice it until maybe further down. It kind of preached that same kind of kind of biblical stuff without hitting you over the head with it.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I come back to where comics have lost a lot of that thing. I mean, a lot of my morality was shaped by two biggest things: the Bible and comics. Mm-hmm. I always tell people I grew up my grandparents. I lost my mom at a very early age. I was 11 years old, so I didn't have a lot of my morals. So my grandparents, weren't evil, but they had views that were, let's just say, nowadays would get they would not be agreed with. Let's just say, you know what I mean. Some of the comments they made were borderline incorrect and stuff like that. And so how I got to learn about racism and how to treat people were A1. You have the Bible, and then I got to see that by the comics ring, reading X-Men, watching the diverse characters that were coming up in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. So that formed a lot of my opinions and views nowadays. And so that's why I'm so welcome. And I wish comics would get back to, giving good messages without browbeating. And you can do that completely.
Yeah. Now, not everything has to be left versus right.
Right. And that's one of the big things I really, with Sporkman we're doing is we're just trying to keep out all that, you can be political without being political. You know what I mean?
You can tell a story and you can put a political position without saying the other side is the bad guys.
Right. Exactly. And really, I mean, the thing is, even with Sporkman, I always come back to, there are truly evil men in the world, don't get me wrong. But like I look at like Shogun Z, for instance, I don't look at him as evil in the sense of Hitler, but he is a guy who basically is guided by the fact of his family comes from this long line of samurais, and they were part of the shogunate. And, he idolizes that. So he wishes Japan could go back to that. Now, he's being heavy-handed about how he's doing it because he's using his political power, his company, and everything to be heavy-handed, but it's not evil in the sense of he's not out there killing people and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So he does try to avoid those things, but, we're still telling a story like, that, you don't have to be this evil to get things done, and that the underdog like Sporkman can become the hero and can be, at the end of the day, he can be the hero because he triumphs over evil, and the evil isn't like a meta evil, like I'm going to make Satan, in my other comic, but evil has like different facets just as good as different facets.
Well, yeah, that's like one of the Magneto things was he was in Auschwitz or something.
Yeah.
And that's where he gets his sense of, well, I'm not going to let that happen to anybody else, but he takes it too far.
Right. And the thing is, Magneto. The thing is, and I always empathize with the Magneto character because if I was in the same shoes as him, how would you have acted? You know what I mean? You're first off, you're Jewish, so you're already separated from most people because you're hated by the Germans. So you're put in this concentration camp. All of a sudden, you find out you now have superpowers.
Yeah. Then they get people twice the reason to hate you.
Yeah. So and then why wouldn't you go? And I always say people don't go evil just because of they want to be evil. They go evil because of the circumstances that get pushed them to be that way.
But then they have a group called the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Like they're straight up calling themselves.
Right. So basically, it's him not knowing his limits. Until Charles dies. Until Charles dies, that's what really struck him. Because he had this battle back and forth, and these guys were best friends. And so so to me, the Magneto character is a fantastic character. I think him and Scott Summers are like some of the two greatest characters I love for the X-Men. I know a lot of people hate Scott Summers, but because to me, I think he is the guy that's going to lead the X-Men to a better future. Now I know Marvel went and killed him off and stuff like that, and I hate that. But to me, Scott, it was always once again, Scott always reminded me of the Superman hero without having overtly superpowers. All he had was these beams, but he had a moral compass that was very linear. You know what I mean? And he tried to stay within that moral compass that Charles taught him, and I like that. And it's the same thing with Superman. Don't get me wrong, I love my edgy superheroes like Wolverine and Punisher and stuff like that. But I've always been attracted to guys that were more the goody two shoe characters. And I know because that's what Superman gets called all the time, goody two shoes by Batman. But because I believe morality. And that's a lot of that comes from my upbringing, in my Christian faith. There is a good. That good is Jesus Christ. So I looked at that. That's how I use my morality. That's how I formed those heroes that I like and stuff like that.
For anybody listening, you can probably hear my dog snoring in the background. That's what that weird noise is.
Well, my cat's actually sitting up on the couch. She's away from me right now. So
I did a little YouTube video. I do my weekly my pull list, and my cat was all over my comics today.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, that's where for me, that's where that morality comes from. So, with Sporkman, we really wanted to keep that. That old time feel, with the Sentai superheroes, because a lot of them weren't overly violent. They had a lot of over the top fun, and then the old age comic book heroes, from the 60s and 70s, it wasn't really till the late 80s did you get these violent, Batman killing, or well, let's rephrase that because Batman did kill in the beginning, and he's the whole reason why the rule of where heroes don't kill in the first place, because they were killing off the villains and they had nobody.
I watched the other day on YouTube. It was like a 1941 Captain Marvel, Shazam Captain Marvel movie, one of those really old serials.
Yeah.
And Billy Batson was like a gun-toting, he was shooting people left and right.
Yeah.
In that one. I mean, back then, that wasn't, I guess Superman probably didn't. Although he was, punching like wife beaters and stuff like that. But you want those ideal characters. You have the ideal characters like Superman, where they were the ultimate in the ideals. And then you have Batman, who nowadays is supposedly the no-kill. He still fights the street crime and all that, but he's kind of the idyllic. But then you want those kind of gap fillers, like the Wolverines and the Punishers and some more cathartic characters.
Because they're the ones that are going to do the dirty work. So sometimes you need that dirty work to be done. Yeah. Because and you root for those characters because there are some people that are so evil. You don't want your heroes to be your good heroes like Batman or Superman to be stained by them. So you send in someone like Daredevil, Punisher, Wolverine to take care of the dirty work.
And that's one of those things. Like as a kid or as somebody, you're watching the news, you see all these kind of bad guys getting away with it, and it's like, well, the system failed you. or the system feels like it's failing, you want a character that you can, it's cathartic. You can open up your book and you say, okay, I know the Punisher's just going to shoot the bad guy and he's not going to worry about, the court system and all this other stuff. Within the comic, you know that the bad guy did it. So it's not like there's a technicality and maybe he didn't do it. And the comic's always going to make it clear that even though the Punisher's killing, he's only killing the guy, and they're going to expressly put it out. This guy was a bad guy, did bad things, and he's getting his comeuppance. And with Superman, he's the ideal. So he's gonna beat the guy up, and he's gonna take him to the police. And I think I had this argument about Batman, and because recently they had who was it? Scott Snyder, Zack Snyder, one of those guys. The guys that did the movie. He's like, no, in real life, Batman's gonna kill people. And there was kind of that argument. Well, no, Batman's supposed to catch the bad guys and bring them in. And I was thinking, I understand that as an ideal, but I'm like, realistically, there's no way Batman exists in the real world.
No, and I agree with that.
Because Batman, I mean, after a while of the Joker killing hundreds of people, you're going to have to say, all right, you know what? I'm going to accidentally kick this guy off a building.
Yeah. Yeah, out of all the heroes, I really think, and I don't get me wrong, because I love Batman. I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan, but I think Batman, unfortunately, is the most unrealistic because eventually he would get tired of it, and I think he would ultimately go back to how he was originally created. Was he would kill him? Now he wouldn't. Or if he did something, he wouldn't save him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think it's a matter of him getting tired of him, though. I think it's a matter of there's a certain amount of guilt that comes up with, I could have stopped him all those times on a permanent basis, and I didn't do it.
Well, did you see Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns?
I read it, a long time ago.
So you remember in the second arc, that actually, before the Superman arc, that actually dealt with that. He really when the Joker went away and he got re-released and stuff like that, and then he went on that murder rampage. He ultimately he's like all these years I let you run free, I let all these people die. He's like, that's it. I had enough of it, and he ultimately ends up killing the Joker in The Dark Knight Returns. But he doesn't do anything to, and it wasn't like he killed him like physically, like he like he took a knife and stabbed him or something like that. Yeah. But he let the Joker do something that got him killed. But Batman didn't save him. He just left him die. And of course, then he gets hunted down by everybody else because of what happened. But still, I see Batman kind of being the guy being more like that. Well, you know what? I don't have to save you. You know what I mean? I hate to save you because I have a hero. But after a while, like you said, that would weigh on his conscience eventually. And I think any human, because this is the human element, we would just say, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm not going to save you anymore. I've done what I could. But what's that threshold?
Every once in a while, you think they would just put a lock on the Joker's cell door.
Exactly.
They got to do something. I mean, if they're not going to stop him, and it's a comic book, so it's fantasy. So, I like Batman. I like that that his whole goal is not to kill, to bring him to justice. But then I was like, well, what does that do for everyone else down the line? Because ultimately, Gordon has to look the other way, because when you bring him in front of a judge and you're like, yeah, some guy dressed as a bat in his supercar chased him down the street and then brought him in, I think the court system kind of has to go, I'm not sure that we can legally put a guy in jail after all of that.
Exactly, 100%. Because in that world, he would have had his, and I know he actually talked. Somebody I read or watched talks about that. They were talking about how like Batman literally violates every villain's like he violates almost like every constitutional like amendment and stuff like that. The right for a person, to defend himself. Like he can't like incriminating and like there was like somebody doing this thing like how many like amendments like Batman would break to bring somebody to justice or something like that.
Yeah, and you understand it because he's bringing in these crazy murderers that are dressed up like freaking freaks.
Yeah.
So I mean, how else are you supposed to deal with it? I was like, the only ideally for Batman to work in real life, and again, I understand Batman's a fantasy, so everything's fantasy world. I get it. But ideally, if he were realistic, Batman would have his own prison and just catch all the bad guys and stick them in his own unescapable prison, and then use his billions of dollars to keep them alive, to pay them until they die, or to not to pay them, to feed them until they die.
Or here's the other thing: why haven't any of the villains been put to death? For the death?
Well, because they all get put in Arkham Asylum. They're all found crazy. They're not found to be murderers. Why doesn't he just find some way to find so they're not found insane or whatever?
Exactly. But once again, that we would lose the aspect of having our fun of watching those stories.
Yeah. And ultimately, somebody would have tracked. I mean, you can do that with everybody. The same with Superman, obviously, and that's what I guess Injustice deals with. If you've read that one at all,
Yep.
But ultimately, Superman catching the bad guys. He's catching these super robots. And what do you do with a super robot? He's either going to destroy it. You can't bring him into go to jail because he has to. Well, you can't try a robot, I guess, but like a Lex Luthor or whatever. He's got to have a trial, and the guy's smart enough will get more expensive lawyers and just say, look, I was caught by a guy wearing a cape and jammies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and once again, the other thing too, like for me, like if you look at a lot of these superhero stuff, like every single one of them would be, well, they're all vigilantes in some way. Like the law, like almost like literally does not exist in some way, because if it were real, like every single thing they would be running by and being really crazy.
But you have to figure also the law would have to be different, because you've got superpowered beings running around, and you would need good superpowered beings to fight them.
Exactly.
There would have to be a completely different set of laws, and it would be. They're really realistically, there's no other way to deal with it. You're just going to have to sick Superman on the aliens coming down. What else? What else are you going to do? It's a fantasy world. That you have to just assume. You have to assume certain facts and evidence, not in evidence.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the great things about comics. They allow so many exploring of different elements and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the metal says it right. Batman skips your Miranda rights altogether. Blackgate was just a high security prison that no one gets to put death there for. Back in New York, they still had capital punishment for extreme crimes. Well, yeah, you would think though that wouldn't the Joker fall under the extreme crime? Now I can see like why the Penguin wouldn't be murdered, because he runs a gang. So he probably wouldn't. He'd probably just be, he would go into Blackgate, and I think that's primarily where he went to. Like his gang members would go to Blackgate.
Didn't he have? He has like poison gas in his umbrellas, though. So
yeah, that is true. That is true.
I would think that in itself would be enough to put him away for a while. All right. Well, you know what? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about Sporkman? We'll go back to your campaign here. We'll finish this out.
So not a problem. So we actually have the future is a lot of just like it is with the Marvel and DC and stuff like that. So the future with Sporkman for me is wide open. We actually have Eric and I actually have wrote multiple story treatments and stuff like that. Down ideas. For instance, like our next comic is going to be called Sporkman on the High Seas. So we're taking the elements of what if we took Sporkman and put him with pirates in underwater adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So hence we get Sporkman on High Seas, and that actually came out of like, what if we had Sporkman walking the plank? And so he and then we have one of our characters in the first comic book called the Sharkster. He's going to make a reappearance as our villain, and that actually links back to that first adventure. And we actually also referenced some stuff from Japan in Sporkman on the high seas. So yeah, so really what you're doing here is you're not just backing us doing Sporkman convention or Japan, you're actually starting to fund us to be able to go further and to do our other issues and stuff like that. Now the money that we're raising here, the 5,500, is to get this completed, but we're always, if you're people aren't able to get into this right now, we are going to have them available through Wicked where people can pick up later on. So really what you're doing is you're funding this to get out there to everybody and get this completed into the people's hands to get started. And then that way we can start doing the next adventures, because that's really what we want to do. You know, we love Japan. It's a great story, but we have, you know, Sporkman on the high seas. We have Sporkman Goes to Hollywood. We have Sporkman Returns to Japan.
Nice. So, oh yeah.
Yep. We got that. We have a Sporkman anthology where that kind of like a what if, where we're going to introduce Sir Spork-a-Lot and Sporkman 4.0. We also have like a Halloween horror theme that we want to do with Sporkman, where he goes to Romania and Liechtenstein.
Oh, cool.
And
like Dracula.
Well, he gets mistaken for being a vampire.
Oh, nice.
Well, you know, because he's got the 3 tines. So,
yeah,
you know. Yeah. So, so we have that. We actually have our version of the Justice League type comic we really want to write, where basically Sporkman, in our version of the Justice League, they've realized that they're better separate superheroes versus being a team. Even though Sporkman's like a really good team and stuff like that, a leader, it's just that you know, when you get how all those egos, imagine trying to control all the egos like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna get with our team. And then we have what was the other one? Oh yeah, so we have one where Sporkman goes to Atlantis. He's going to be actually that's going to be like our homage to Indiana Jones. Oh,
nice.
We actually have a guy who we actually created for a movie we did. We did a fan film. We did our own film probably about 15, 20 years ago called The Moving Picture. Well, in that we actually created a character called Weeder Boy, and his uncle is Idaho Jim.
Nice.
So we originally were gonna film a sequel involving where Weeder Boy meets with Idaho Jim, his uncle. Well, it didn't happen, so we're like, oh hey, what if we repurpose that into doing, redoing that, and where he's the archaeologist, because you know the name Idaho Jim, you know. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of wanted to do. We always wanted to do this theme with Atlantis. Originally, I was supposed to be in our adventure on the high seas, but it just didn't work. So we kind of repurposed that. So we actually have it where Atlantis is going to be like this huge underwater base that aliens left there and stuff like that. And Idaho Jim is basically finding like the MacGuffin to get to the device and stuff like that. Then we have Sporkman Saves the World. Where aliens actually come and invade our world, and so yeah, we have tons of ideas. So we have like this huge world. Plus, then we have the Revengers. I know that there's a lot of people, you know, who want to, you know, really want to do things with Sporkman. So we want to maybe see some crossovers. So you know, people getting in now. It's just not. You know, this is just going to be a one and done thing. You know, this is us building this really large universe, especially for indie creators to play in. Who's to say, like, say Lone Wolf doesn't pop up, or somebody from another book or something like that. You know,
Cyberlinks.
See, speaking of that, I actually have a parody on a Tron. Sporkman goes to Sporkman in the digital world.
Oh, really?
And then, like, in there, like he's like riding, like, all, and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's, and what's so great is the character lends itself to these overtop things.
Yeah.
And so then there's like Sporkman versus Foon Man, who is our main villain. Foon Man. So okay, so a lot of people don't know this. Well. Do you know that the sporks come in two different ways? There's a 3-tined and a 4-tined.
Uh-huh.
So Ours is called a spork. The four-tined is technically called a foon. That's Foon. So what we did was we created Food Man as Sporkman's opposite, and so
Awesome.
and he's like a bike rider, and what we want to do is we want to actually have him be the behind the scenes, like kind of how like Lex Luthor is with Superman pulling the strings like everywhere.
Yeah.
We want Food Man to be kind of doing the same thing, and I really wanted to create like a Legion of Doom type thing with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So you right now you're at 1,053. It's 19%. You want $5,500.
Yeah.
So let's get Sporkman up to
$5,500. Yeah, we're actually a little bit higher than that. We're at 13. Yeah, we're
right because of Nerdy Texan.
Yep. We're at 1353. So we have a little while to go. Now, what's going to happen is, so right now we do have enough money to pay for the letterist.
Okay.
The letterer. So that goal is so that we would get this letter. We would get with the money we have right now, the letterist would come on board. I don't want us to be settled with that, but if we shouldn't make the goal, what we're going to do is we'll still release the comic. We may not be doing it in color.
Okay.
And that's the only difference. So
what kind of stretch goals you got? Do we have any stretch goals?
If you scroll down.
All
at
right.
the bottom
I probably completely missed it. Hope nobody gets all dizzy.
So one of our first stretch goal that we have is if we get fully funded, we are going to actually bring Ninja on if we get to the 6,500K. We're going to do a short mini Natsumi Ashcan.
All right, I'm going to stop right here because $6,000 Natsumi Ashcan. Everybody, look. That's Natsumi. This isn't. You want the Ashcan because this is Natsumi right here, guys. You're going to want a whole little comic with just Natsumi in it.
Yep.
All right, so we want to get you. We definitely want to get you to that Ashcan. All right, go ahead.
So then at 6,500, we're going to do Sporkman trading cards.
All right.
And then at 7,000, we actually will open up to the Chibi Sporkman stickers. If you scroll a little bit down there a little bit.
There we go. Oh yeah, that's the your little avatar there.
Yep.
That's really cool. Did you do this one, or did your artist do this one?
No, actually, that was done by Pope Raven and Deus Ex.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Yep, and we actually have a running gag that's Chibi Sporkman is best Sporkman.
That looks really cool. The Chibi Sporkman.
Now I'm also talking because this was Pope Fire is the one who actually arranged this with them to do it. I got her to commission it for us, and so they actually sell it through stickers right now. So that's why if we get that much, we'll pay to get them to print the stickers, and then we'll include that into the campaign. But then I'm also looking possibly if we do, depending on how things go, if we get to the higher goal, I may make Chibi Sporkman into a new T-shirt.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. Right now I'm kind of playing with the toy numbers because, with the way things are going and stuff like that, I want to hold off on being too ambitious.
Yeah. Well, once we get to your goal and it's opened up, you're gonna keep it on in demand, I assume.
Yes. What we're gonna do is we're gonna keep it on in demand. Now, what we're also gonna do is we're gonna open up to the Kickstarter people, because there are some people that don't back on Indiegogo, because we want this in everybody's hands. We want this as much people as possible. So we're gonna do we're gonna leave it in demand for Indiegogo, and then we're gonna do a short campaign on Kickstarter to make up any of the funds that if we don't make the full goal, hopefully we can make the rest of it through Kickstarter and stuff like that. So, but if we get to the goal, that's staying that way, then we'll run that as a separate campaign to kind of just fulfill that part. Okay. But I really want to get to the 6K because that's going to be new content that's not available. Because I really want I'm like you, I really want the Natsumi Ashcan. And right now, Eric is sitting about 10 pages to write for the Ashcan. Yep.
So you're already in the middle of writing that then.
We have the ideas. We're not physically writing it, but we are like tossing ideas back and forth. Now, this will actually Ashcan will be kind of like an epilogue to what's happening in Japan, and will link into Returns to Japan.
All right, that's cool.
So, and who cannot want more Natsumi?
Yeah.
She's a great character. I love her character. I really have this idea for writing kind of like the backstory for her. I have she as I said, she's Chinese, Japanese and Chinese. I'm looking to maybe kind of giving her family, like her family comes from why she has the battle staff is her family actually is a heirloom passed through her family. Her dad is Japanese and her mom is Chinese. And her mom actually brought that with her from China to Japan. And, that's how she, of course, when Natsumi was born, but her parents died very early in life. And she's actually raised by our head scientist at the ADF and stuff like that. What a lot of people also don't know, her last name is actually a homage to a Linux OS called Wooby.
Oh. That's neat.
Yeah, she's a scientist, so we kind of had not only is she a kick-ass superhero in her own thing, she's also a scientist, and so we kind of had to give that homage to the whole because I'm a computer geek and stuff like that. So
that's cool. Everybody, we all like the little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate it.
Thank everybody in the chat, all two of us. Hey, thanks for showing up. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, to go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit the notification button. On this, we like to put these indie guys on. I want to try to get the Wicked guys on. Talk about some of their projects, and because they seem like they're helping out a lot of guys. So we want to get those guys on. We want to get some more projects on. And for everybody that doesn't know, the channel's taking a little bit of a different turn. I'm starting to learn to draw as opposed to just writing. So we're going to start tracking by hours as I, learn different things. I got a whole bunch of different art books that I'm going to start reviewing and do lessons out of all the art books and try to. I don't expect to, be super artist in 2 weeks or whatever. It's just over a year, and then see what happens and try to get to 10,000 hours and that kind of stuff, just to see where it goes. Because it's hard to actually, as a writer, it's hard to get publicity, because you kind of, comic books is a visual art, obviously.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start bringing artists on, and as I do my lessons, I'll do my lessons with some of the the people that are more experienced, and they can help out, and we'll talk about art. We're going to talk about projects and that kind of stuff. So for those listening, keep your eye out for that. This channel is going to go in that direction a little bit. We will still, again, have on new creators and have, and talk about their books and stuff like that. So again, thanks for coming on. This looks like a great project. It's a lot of fun, a lot of really good art. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And again, thanks everybody else in the chat, and y'all have a good night.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And there we go. And we're done.